Welcome to the Freedom Property Podcast, the modern real estate brand empowering excellence. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back in the studio, and today we have got some of the Freedom OGs in the building. To my left, Kristian Parker, welcome. I've got Lukey Nell and the man himself, Tomas Tonks. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
To the podcast show. So I thought I'd get the lads in today because, you guys have been at the brand for as long as anybody here, really. Tonksy, 10 years. Alex, who obviously isn't here today, he's been in the brand 10 years. A couple of the other work from home agents that have been here for a long time. So you've been here since the very start. Lukey, how long have you been
7 years.
7 years. Yeah. Kristian, you just cracked 5 years.
Just cracked 5, yeah.
Crazy.
What a ride.
Appreciate you guys. It's been awesome. I thought we could talk about, how this business has changed. Tonksy, you've been here the longest, other than myself, obviously.
Yeah.
How do you see this business? How's it changed over the last 10 years?
Well, I think with our team is, I guess as we've grown, it was you, me, Jake and Wazza back then. So
Which
I was
is Alex.
which is Alex. I was a lot more rogue. I was a lot more wild back in those days, but we were also early 20s.
Yeah.
So I think as we grow as not only as a brand, but our families grow and we hang out in different ways than we used to. So I think the business side of things, I don't think much really changes.
Yeah.
I think you just become a little bit more structured.
Yep.
Personally, I think that's probably when it comes to business, structured with buyers and understanding the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Back then it was just doing real estate the way that we knew. I was just always door knocking.
Yeah.
That was it.
Did you, Lukey, when you first come here, there was obviously only 4 or 5 of us in the office at that time. Did you think that this business would be as big as it is now? Did you see that vision from the start?
No, not in that time frame. I thought coming in, it just felt like it was a group of friends working together, the 5 of us in the office. Man, the office that we used to have was, the size of this podcast studio pretty much. And now this is a little room in one of the 3 offices we've got at the moment, which is, it's pretty crazy to see. And I mean, how many agents do we have in the Redlands and in Brisbane now? 20, 30?
Yeah, well, we got 36 agents. We've got all their buyer managers. We've got obviously a lot of work from home agents as well. I think we've got about 70 in the brand now.
So from 5 of us to that number in 7 years is pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Still trips me out.
Yeah.
Still trips me out when I tell people we got 30 something agents. I'm like, do we? And then you do the numbers and you're like, oh yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Absolutely. Yeah, you came at a pretty good time when you first started with us. Hey, it was a great time to be involved in that business because that was when the market was started to explode as well. And when you joined and you came into our team, and we had a good couple of years there together, right?
I remember the first year when I started with you, it wasn't all, what it is now. We were doing open homes in Redland Bay and we were out there for 3 months straight just to meet a couple of buyers, So I was very fortunate to have at least experienced that market before things really started to take off. But
absolutely.
Yeah, where we're at now, I remember back in the Ormiston office, we were the only team in there, you, Jake and I, and then we had Luke and Tonksy and the other boys sort of just as solo agents. But now as we've grown and everyone's starting to bring in buyer managers and grow their teams.
Yeah. I love the progression that we're creating at Freedom because what I like seeing now as a brand owner, I love selling houses. So don't get me wrong, I love selling houses. But what I love seeing is someone come into someone's team, then become an agent themselves and start listing and selling, and then they build their team. You started in our team, and now you're building your team. You've got Jasmine, you got Jackson, who's gone into sales himself, who's come from your team.
Yeah.
So you're already building a little residual income there of the people that you're moving through your team, but. Yeah, that's what I really love seeing, and that's what I love about Freedom is this pathway that we're creating for the agents. And you've got Carl with you right now, who's going to become an agent soon. He's going to be so good because he's had 2.5 years, 3 years.
Well, this will be going into his 3rd year.
Yeah. So he hasn't rushed it. He's done it well. I think he's going to be really good when he starts. We've had Tom Ron move from your team into sales now, who's just getting started, and we're very hopeful on Tom Ron and what he can achieve. And you brought in Ashley into your team, which has been a great asset to you.
Yeah.
She's been awesome.
She's unreal. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So let's talk about that progression. what's like what do you see from these youngsters? Like what like do they think about this business the same way that we think about it, or are they just here just to be here? Are they trying to where's their head at, you reckon?
I think, like, I know when I started, it was door knocking every day, like 9 to 5. That was my traineeship. And then when I went out on my own, there wasn't that guidance. Like, what we've got for them is so unreal. And some people kind of maybe take it a little bit for granted because we streamline that process. We pretty much show them everything that happens in the back of the business before they go on their own. So it's not like go knock on 100 doors each day and now you're a listing and selling agent, and all you know is to knock on doors. Maybe it's a great foundation to meet people, but to understand all the things, like it took me a lot of time to understand the value of servicing the buyers, the value of the database, the value of my communities, the value of all these other things. And I feel like, especially like a Kristian coming out of your business, or some of the other boys that have come out of your business, or some of the other members that come out of your team, it's like they kind of get everything. It's literally the best way to get into real estate because you can fast track all of this. Like I had to learn from a lot of trial and error.
Absolutely.
You know, like Luke came in without any of that background, like literally just came in and I guess started.
But it was so hard for you at the start. Right? You know, like it took you a year to even really.
Well, that's right. Rolling. I could have gone the route of, I mean, you gave me options and I could have gone the route of being a buyer manager in your business or doing something along those lines and having a wage. But I chose to just take the risk and do it myself. And I mean, the risk paid off, but it took a long time. And, you know, 2 years, my bank balance was pretty low. Like I was considering, like, what am I doing? Should I get back into chefing? And then that was just when it took off, you know, just building the relationships that I'd been building for 2 years and getting some opportunities and going from there.
And with Kyle in your team, like, where do you see his strengths and weaknesses at the moment, and what's stopping him from taking the next step into sales?
I think that for anybody, and myself included, anyone getting into real estate, I think that maturity is a big part of it and life experience. 3 years ago, I'd never bought a property. I feel like after buying my first family home, all of a sudden you know a little bit more about the process. It's crazy to think that I'm specializing in a business that actually I didn't really understand the behind the scenes of the journey that buyers and sellers are going through. And so I think as someone in their early 20s or even late teens, when Carl started with us, you've got no comprehension of that. And you also, I think there's a lack of confidence that comes from that when dealing with people. You get scared of the questions that they might ask you because, you know, how am I going to respond to this? I don't know the answers. So I think a lot of it is just life experience. And I mean, Carl is great. I get feedback nonstop from buyers and sellers about what a personable kid he is, how, you know, good manners. These are all the things that are important, very respectful. I think that if people have that perception of you in the marketplace, you're going to do well. It's just about getting more experience and confidence in dealing with people. Where something that I think is very hard to wrap your head around when you're young as well is that you aren't serving these people. You aren't beneath them. You've got to try and remember that you're an equal and actually trying to help these people. So don't feel intimidated. You've got to feel, you know, on the same level as them. And like, I'm actually here to help you. So let's treat each other with a mutual respect. And I think that is very hard when you're a youngster talking to people in their 40s and 50s and 60s, you know?
And if you are a youngster, like, how can you be helpful? Like, why would someone want to talk to you?
True.
And the power of us running our off-market databases like we do, and giving the buyer managers access to see all these off-market properties, which gives them an in with that buyer.
Exactly.
It says, well, you might want to get to know me because I've got access to all the off-market stock. So when I call you, maybe answer your phone, because I might be telling you about a home you haven't seen on realestate.com.
Exactly.
So, you know, remember that, buyer managers, when you're in front of these buyers. But yeah, I'm excited to watch the next like wave of agents come through. Like I see, you know, you came through into my team, boom, just went out there and smashed it. Like last year had a huge year. This year you've had a bit of a roller coaster and it feels like you're about to go again. Like, so it's exciting to watch. So, you know, that usually happens, like you get on this little bit of a roller coaster in real estate. You know, what's been the change for you? You know, like you come in, bang, make heaps of sales, and then you're like, oh, my bank account's full, and you know, you start like thinking you've got it all figured out. Then you get humbled again. It's like, oh, okay, well, where's the listings? And what then motivates you to drive it back up?
There's definitely a complacency factor that comes into play when you do have quite a bit of, I guess, capital ready to go just at hand. So like, I think for me, it's learning like what to do with that when you have it there to then remotivate you to get back to work, you know? So like I've been chatting with you now for quite a bit about buying a property. Like that's definitely on the cards for me very soon. But I think for the start of this year, you know, like moving into the Wynnum office, that's definitely been a challenge for me to navigate becoming a leader here, like trying to help a lot of the newer agents that you've been sort of bringing into the office to start their own sales businesses as well. So I think we spoke just the other day, but I've been obviously selling in the Redlands now for quite some time. And like this year I've been balancing like trying to lay new foundations in the Wynnum and Manly region. We've got our new office, but also battling, still nurturing relationships that I've got in the Redlands.
Yep.
You know, right now I'm listing houses in like Victoria Point, Redland Bay, which is awesome, but it's become quite a mission to like get out there and service those guys the right way. So
a mission that, like, if you think about it like that, because there's a lot of agents that are around Brisbane, for instance, that sell Gold Coast, they sell Brisbane City, they sell Redland City, they sell like they sell everywhere. And people are attracted to them because they sell a certain style, they sell a certain process or whatever it is, you know. And I think the key for you will just be marketing.
Yeah, and right now, like I want to specialize in this area. Like that's my main thing. I want to be giving all my sellers in this pocket like my absolute best service.
Yeah.
And that means like I've got people that I've been nurturing relationships with them for like 2 years in the Redlands, but because I'm going to be spending more time out here, like, and they're probably not going to experience that same service from me, I'm happy to pass those relationships off to, you know, other younger agents that are in the Cleveland office that have more time, that are in that area, that can give those sellers and homeowners the service that they deserve.
Something that we're creating at the moment, which is very close to being implemented, and I'm having a meeting with the property platform later on today about it, is this text messaging system that we're building.
Yeah.
So like you've got your stock standard text messaging systems out there, which, you know, you can export your CSV file and have a bunch of names and numbers, and you can just drop a text message on them, and you just get, you know, I get them all the time because I've been buying properties for a long time, and just from lazy real estate agents, you know, they're like, the market is improving, you know, would you like an update on your property? And you just like, every time I get it, I'm just like, you lazy.
See you later.
You know, like seriously, you haven't got to understand where I'm at on my journey. You know, like if anything, it just deters me from listing my house with you or wanting to even talk to you. You know, but what we're building with this text messaging system through the property platform at the moment is, what I want to have is everybody in your community. So every listing opportunity that you've got in my community right now. So all the people that they've got homes, you know where they live, you've got all their data on them, but you're not servicing them as well as what you'd like to. Once a month, bang, they get this email, and it says, "Hey Thomas, click the link below to see the last 30 days worth of sales in your suburb." So they click through, and then it comes through to your web page. And what we can do is we can build all this, and we're working on this at the moment. So your web page would be here, and then they would click which suburb they would like to look in. Bang, I want to look in Redland Bay. I might have an investment property at Birkdale. Click into either one of these, and then they can see we pull all this data from RP Data or Price Finder or wherever we're going to take it from, pop it all onto this web page, and it'll have all the sales and all the data there, so you won't have to worry about like updating that ever. You'll have all your recent testimonials, and you know, you'll also have a link in there. Would you like to join my off-market database? Would you like to list your property off-market? So we're going to put some really cool things on there just to try and capture people's details. But this will be like a text, so you can go, bang, send my community like once a month. You know, it might cost you $500 or something, just depending on how many people are in your database. But like, how powerful is that? And then you can, when it touches these landing pages, we can then give that audience to our digital marketers, who can then be like, all right, whoever's touched that database, hit them with our ads. You know, so hit them with why Thomas Tonks, hit them with why they should do this or why they should do that. So that's what we're building in the background at the moment. This is the power of this platform that we're on that can allow us to do all these things. So some exciting things. So you may not have to lose those relationships. You're going to nurture them through a different way, and then you're going to funnel these people, and the people that are clicking through to this ad, they're the ones you're going to spend more time on.
Yeah, I agree.
You know? But what I like about our system is that, and what we can do with people, and you know, when we talk about culture at this brand, like what I see as culture is like how we've helped each other out over the years. You know, like for me personally, like you guys could have called on me anytime at the start, and I'd have done listing presentation for you.
Yeah.
Sunday, 6 p.m. I'd have been there, right there with you if you needed me. You know what I mean? And that to me is culture.
Yeah.
You know, like helping each other out and supporting each other. Like, Luke, tell me a story about how you've helped one of these agents recently, because I want to really dive down into this culture about what we're creating in this team, and like, talk to me about how you have helped some of these young agents.
I think well, I mean, I'll talk about it both ways, how I've been helped and how I've helped others. You said from the very beginning when I started in this office, it all swings and roundabouts, and that's something that I'll always remember, and I'll always say to other people as well. Like, if you are doing a commission share because someone has helped make your life easier in selling a property off market, or if you, like, for example, I've just sold a property in Sheldon off market. Well, it's under contract with another agent. I don't specialize in Sheldon. For me, I mean, obviously a sale at that price point, just under the $2 million level, is an amazing sale to promote. But instead of me sort of taking all the credit for it, I said to the other agent, you do the videos on this. This is your area. Yeah. You take advantage of this sale. I mean, I don't think that happens in other real estate offices. Yeah. I've never worked in it else. I've only worked at Freedom, but I've spoken to agents who've worked in these other brands. And from what I've heard, it's friction, and it's cutting each other's grass, and it's, no respect for one another's listing opportunities or relationships. It's, if you hear about a potential listing, regardless of who in your office is talking to it, you're going to go try and go for it as well. Again, I can't comment on it personally, as I've never worked in these places, but I've been told stories, and that sort of thing just doesn't happen with us. It's more about helping each other, really, because it does all swing in roundabouts, and you helping someone else is going to come back to you in another way. Like, something that happened with you and I maybe 6 months ago, which to me was an incredible experience, was we've done a couple of 50-50 listings where you and I might be talking to the same person, and every time it's happened, well, I did the last one, I ran it, even though you got 50% of the commission. Next time it's your turn. Now you've run the listing and I've done nothing. And at the end of the day, I got 50% of the deal. But then beyond that, you met someone through one of those campaigns. I had no idea about any of this going on. But all of a sudden I get this commission share for 30% of another deal that I had no idea was even going on in the background. And it was because you had met someone through that campaign, and we've got this unwritten agreement that if you meet someone through, then it brings more business on. It's still a commission split. I mean, where else are you going to get that? You know what I mean? 20% of commission on a deal like that is a lot of money. And you just gave that to me, and it was unexpected. And I think that's just then reciprocated because I've experienced that with you. I want to do it for other people.
Absolutely.
Luke literally walked into my office this morning and offered me 50% of a deal out here in this area, just to work with him on the listing.
Because I know Kristian wants to specialize in this area, and not that I don't. I mean, I'd love to list nice homes out here, but for Kristian's business right now, I think it's more important.
And it's probably best for your client.
100%. Kristian's probably got more market knowledge than I do of this area.
Definitely. I see that happening a lot. Because we have agents that join us and they're like, I'd like to try and take on a suburb that we haven't mastered yet. But between us all, we get enough listings there, and we're like, all right, sweet. This guy wants to dominate this area over here, this suburb. So when anybody gets a listing, chuck them on the back of it, and let them prospect around, let them do some of the video and stuff that we do, and let them, be at the open homes and help you do all this stuff. And and then it allows them to leverage that deal as their own to get the next one.
That was another. Sorry to jump in. That was when you and Jackson first came out, and Jackson wanted to take over Wakeley. Kyle, again, without me doing anything, Kyle knew a buyer who would be perfect for an off-market property that Jackson called up on. We did this deal off-market, record sale for Wakeley. We weren't even on that sale, and I didn't need to be or want to be. It was it was more important for Jackson to start his career. Being on that signboard, being able to promote that sale. How powerful, record-setting sale. Jackson just welcomed to real estate in Wakeley. And he's used that, and he's really started to, for how long he's been in the game, the listings that he's getting in that area, it's incredible.
And all his listings are in that area too, and it's come off,
really been focused.
You get one and then you get another and you build and you market yourself well. But that's one part of our culture here, but another part of our culture is good marketing. It's positioning ourselves well in our marketplace, and trying to do things in a classy way, and also the service that we offer buyers. It's not good enough to not get back to your buyers. It's not good enough to have all these leads built up in your system here. With us, we want people the buyers or whoever it is, to enter our world and then be handled a certain way by whoever it is at Freedom, and that's culture again as well. So again, this is what we push through with our team and our and our people, it's like, this is how we run our system. This is how quickly you need to get back to your leads. This is what you do with your buyers. Like, motivate this stuff. Like, why go out cold calling and randomly door knocking and doing old-school real estate when you've got 500 people in your database that you just need to nurture, who are your future sellers?
Yeah.
You know, like, handle them well. As soon as they enter that database, bang, as soon as they enter it, go on this journey with you forever.
Going back to what you said, once you understand that the better that the brand does, the better that our office does, the better it's going to reflect on you. Like, so if I help Kristian go out there and double his business in whichever way that I can, that's going to reflect back on me. Because if I walk into that town and I've got a listing press and there's freedom signs everywhere, none of them are mine, I win. Right. So, and it all snowballs. If you're handling your buyers correctly and one of my sellers goes through your property and I know that seller's safe going through that property because they're going to get followed up on the Saturday, they're going to get the ride service, going to get all of these things. I'm like, sweet. My listing press is pretty much done. I just got to walk in there and be like, hey guys, how'd you go with your recent experience with agents? They're like, freedom was so good. That was sick. And it's just like, sweet. But that only works if everyone's on the same page. Right. So if you're not thinking freedom first, it's like most like football teams, right? It's team first, player second. If you're playing for your team and people around you, you're going to be a better player.
And we're going to have stars in that team who make a big tackle. You know, they score the goal. Like they motivate the team. You know, like there's different parts of a team. You know, it's not just about the team. Like we want the stars to step up and get their recognition. We want them to step up and be the best agents that they can possibly
100%.
be. You know, so absolutely, I love that. I love it, and you know that's what culture is at this brand. It's like we are trying to create something bigger than just us selling some houses. We are going to naturally sell houses, but with the right people and the right people in this brand who market themselves well, who get back to buyers and their leads quickly and just put them through that journey that we've created, who also then you know, add that team you know, emphasis into their business by, you know, doing what's happened with them. You know, like you've gone through that process. You have came in as a buyer manager, become a sales agent. Now you're bringing in buyer managers who are going to become sales agents. Like that's repaying like the world for what you've had happen to you.
It's not
like,
a doctor.
I was the same. You know what I mean? Like I started as the office trainee and I made my way up through, and you know,
You might look like one.
Yeah. Dr. Parker.
Are you ready to supercharge your real estate game? If so, then you should join our agent growth training program and community. Here you will learn the tips, the tricks, the processes, the strategies to dominate your local marketplace. If you want to become the #1 agent in your area, agent growth is for you. If you'd like to join, follow the link below and you can sign up for free.
But like that's the bigger picture. It's like, can we, you know, give back? Can we help these newer agents and become something? And then can we get them to do the same thing with somebody else? And then we have this team of people who are just like, yes, like we've helped each other here. We trust each other. I can trust sending you this. I can give you this. I can help you with that. And it just creates something so much bigger than just a brand. And that's what a culture is for me.
Trust is, that's a very
And it's all in. Like it's not like, you know, you come into work and you have this culture because it suits you. That's not how culture works. Like I know when Kristian came on board, Kristian and I would spend time outside of work and I'd be having conversations with him after work. Be like, no, bro, do this. Or no, you're missing this part. I don't have to do that. And you don't have to do that for me.
Hopefully you didn't take all of his advice.
No, talk way too much.
Not all of it. Some of it.
Don't talk too much. But like, and that's the thing. And you pass that on. But the culture doesn't work if you take that, but you don't pass that on. Right? If you go, sweet, cool, and then someone asks for something, and then you're like, oh, I'm not going to conjunct on this deal. I'm not going to do this. Or I'm not going to help you out after hours because I don't need to. Because that's not my description of my role and my business doesn't benefit financially off that. Get it out.
It doesn't work. We've experienced it in our business where we've had this the same sort of culture, the same mindset, this unspoken agreement of how we all operate with one another. And you see agents come into the business and you can feel immediately that they're not on the same page. Like you can feel this whispering and like, well, we're happy to share the opportunities that you've got up there, but we don't want you to see ours. And it doesn't last. They don't handle it in that space. They can't. It just doesn't work in our culture and in our office.
It's
not what we're looking for.
it's like, and that culture is really easy when there's 5 or 6 of us
Yeah.
sitting in a small little office. But now when you've got 50 odd people trying to build, their own sales businesses as well, and, they're motivated to, make deals happen, like, things can pop up and opportunities can get slipped and they can miss, but it's about learning from those things. And as a brand, like, we need to like document some of those things as well. So we say, and this is what, my role is changing, and I'm learning a lot from mistakes that are happening. Like, we run into these mistakes potentially that have happened, whether it's a disagreement, whether it's something that's gone wrong. And as a brand, what we're doing now is we're documenting this, and we're saying, well, this is what we do in this situation.
Because you've got no book of rules on this thing. You've gone from running an office of 5 agents, and now all of a sudden you've got to try and manage 26 or what. I'm just thinking locally now, not brand wide, but 26 agents who do from time to time butt heads, and all of a sudden you've got to be like the daddy trying to sort out the issues between the kids.
Yeah, but
and me too. I'm not saying it's not me. I'm involved in some stuff as well.
Yeah.
But you all of a sudden had to step into this role where you got to figure this stuff out.
Yeah, and we've seen the people that can't handle that leave our business. People that don't want to be a part of a team and are selfish. Like they don't hang around. Here. And there's no one that's going to be bigger than this brand. If they're not prepared to work with us and they're not prepared to be a part of the bigger picture, then is this really the right brand for them?
Yeah.
And we will attract the right people. We will attract the people that believe in this culture, that believe in what we're building here, believe in the service that we've offered, because we've been doing this for a long time now, and we've got a lot of people that trust each other. And all you got to do, if you are with us, you are with us. Literally, if someone walks in this business tomorrow and they're like, I'd like to be a part of that, like, we are just like 100% like in. But if you want to go play for the other team, I will 2-foot you on the field. You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel about, like, this is a soccer game. Like, I'm from a soccer background. If you're on my team, you're wearing my shirt, 100%. I got your back. I will dive in front of anything for you. Like, I will get you however I have to help you, do whatever I can. But if you're playing for the other team and I tackle you, don't cry about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get off the field if you don't like getting tackled, So
yeah, that's what makes our team special. As we're not climbing on top of each other to get to the goal where we're headed. Like, I don't think I've ever been up against any of you boys in a listing presentation before.
Oh, we
Like,
don't. We just go, we're talking to the same person. Let's just go in together.
Like, I'd love nothing more than to do a listing with you, Big T.
Oh,
you know
man,
what I mean?
We said this not long ago. There was someone that was like, oh, well, you guys work together. I'm like, yeah, it's not even about the sale.
Yeah.
We're just like best mates. We'd like hang out on this listing and go to open homes together, of course.
Yeah.
Like, we want to smash this for you.
Absolutely.
And we're going to have heaps of fun.
Absolutely.
And when you're with the right team, like, it just always swings around in roundabouts. Like, it always comes back around.
100%. But that's culture. That's the bigger picture. I got a few questions from some of the support staff at the brand. They wanted us to answer these questions, so I'll read them out, and you guys tell me what you think. So, okay. Would you auction any type of property, or would you save that process for a particular property or type of vendor? Toxie?
No, I wouldn't auction any type of property.
Yeah.
I think there's properties with buyers in certain demographics that aren't confident in that space, that might not have the ability to settle as early or get unconditional as early. Or like an example would maybe be like a 1-bedroom apartment, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
In a certain area.
Yeah.
Especially if there's a heap of competition.
Yeah.
Like, I know the reason auctions weren't popular 10 years ago for us was that a lot of the homes that we had, there was 10 other homes on the market just like it.
Yeah.
So instead of waiting 4 weeks for that property, for that auction, you'd be like, I'll just probably try out the others and see if I get lucky putting an office in them and maybe go to the auction. But now, because of the market that we're in, I'd say a lot of properties, like a majority of our marketplace, would be suitable, but not every property.
Absolutely.
Right? So I think, that's my answer.
You answer. You do a lot of auctions, Luke. Like, probably I'd say 90% of your properties are auction.
I think Tonksy hit the nail on the head. I think that, and it's hard to predict, but I think that there's certain times in the marketplace where auction is a great way to go, and there's not a lot of stock, there's not a lot of competition. And like I'm always harping on, which you guys have taught me, the auction is not all about the auction. The auction campaign is not all about that end date. And last month I had 3 properties go on the market as auction. It was awesome to see how all 3 of them sold in a different way.
Yeah.
But under the auction campaign banner.
Yeah.
One of them the buyer walked through on day 2 and loved that property so much that they just bought it cash, unconditional on the spot, and it was because of the auction.
Nice.
They're not going to make an offer like that if it was just an open market by negotiation, but they took it. They knew that they had to take it off the market, otherwise they were worried about being up against the competition. They offered the sellers a price they couldn't refuse. Another one of the ones that were going to auction, it became pretty clear after 2 weeks that it didn't feel like it was going to be. I was getting the gut feel it wasn't going to be the right property to go to auction, because the buyer feedback in terms of price point was very far from where the seller wanted it to be. And I just feel like getting 5 people at that auction, even if they're a few $100,000 away from where the seller needs to be at this particular price point, it wasn't going to work. But what the auction did was, one of those buyers was really close to what the seller wanted. They were conditional buyers, but the fact that the auction was coming up in 2 weeks' time, it gave me the opportunity to have the conversation with them, say, look, talk to your broker. If you want to secure this, you're going to need to do it prior to the auction, because I can't cancel the auction campaign. And so instead of offering me a 21-day finance clause, they did everything they could to shorten it. And they did 7-day conditions on everything so it could be done before the auction.
Cool.
So that's sold. Then one of the other ones, it was clear the interest was crazy. Tons of people coming through the home. All the feedback that I was getting was not terribly far away from what the seller wanted. And I was letting the seller know, and they said, well, Luke, are you going to bring us any offers prior? Like, should we take something before? And I reckon they could have sold before for a price that they would have been okay with, but getting those 6 buyers together at the auction, it pushed that up far exceeding what they were hoping to get for it. So
that was a great auction.
3 different stories of the auction campaign, and only one of them actually went to the auction night.
Absolutely.
You're buying time to get feedback, and then being able to work from that feedback.
Yeah, you don't list as nearly enough auctions than that I'd like you to see, Kristian. Like, I think some of your properties could definitely be auctions.
I agree, and it's not that I'm not, running my sellers through an auction presentation. Like, I will auction any property. Like, I'm definitely getting more comfortable with the auction process. It's a difficult thing to master. I think it's easy to hide behind the no price. I think it's very comfortable. It's a lot easier to, just put a property on the market with no price, wait for someone to come and buy it. Like, that's what most agents are doing.
Yeah, and I think it's easy as long as it sells.
Yeah, 100%.
If it doesn't sell, it's like, oh no.
I think, like, speaking to the agents at Freedom right now, like, if you want to set yourself apart from a lot of the other agents in the marketplace, incorporating an auction into your presentation is an amazing way to stand out. Every single presentation I'm walking into, like, I'm walking my sellers through the auction pres. Obviously I need to continue sharpening that up, but like that sets us apart from a lot of the other agents out there that walk in and they'll say, definitely do not auction your property, guys. Do not auction your property. But then when we sit down, the amount of times I've sat down in front of a seller, run them through the presentation that you taught us, explain the auction, they're like, oh, no one's ever explained it to like us like that.
Imagine like having such a big opinion on something you've never done. Like,
most of the sellers,
up
against other agents, most of the sellers, when I get to the auction, they're going, oh no, the other agents have said it doesn't work here. So they've already decided they don't want to do it. And then I think the thing is as well, the more you do something, the more confident you get. 3 years ago, I hated auctions. I remember my first auction at Polana Drive. Like, I had such anxiety. Like, I didn't want to do another auction ever again.
We had a hard auction though. We had a buyer's agent bidding in $5,000 increments. So
I never wanted to do auctions ever again, but slowly I got the confidence back. And I think that the more you do, the more also, like those stories I just told, when you got those stories and like it's real, you can talk through these experiences with the seller. It's 9 times out of 10 they
and I agree. I don't think every property is an auction property, but I think if we are suggesting an auction on your home, there's a reason why. Because we think it is going to be competitive and there's going to be people that are going to be motivated to buy it. So why not have a crack? And at the end of the day, sellers, if you're listening to this and your agent says to you, don't do an auction, say straight to them, when was the last auction you did? How many auctions you done in the last 12 months? See what they say.
Yeah, I've got a really good example of like the one house this year that I had come off the market that didn't sell. And that one I did suggest auction and we're about to go to auction, but we had like a month interim from when I've like done the listing pres and signed the Form 6 to when we were going to go on the market. So I think I met him like early December. We're going to go on the market like mid-Jan and we're going to do an auction campaign. As we got closer, he just kept going, oh, I'm not sure about the auction, right? We took to the market. We had no price on it, did the standard process, negotiated a really good deal, had heaps of buyers come through. All of these things worked out, negotiated a deal. And then 2 weeks later, we had a build and pest. Within a week or 2 weeks, that build and pest fell over because there was a retaining wall at the back that was going to cost 25 grand. We've turned away other buyers. The sellers freaked out and gone, oh, well, I'm just going to pull it off the market and not sell this property. And just obviously it's not going to work. And the whole deal fell through. I'm like one of the most sellable homes in our marketplace. I was driving me insane. So I was like getting 3 quotes done, trying to put the deal together. But it was almost like the buyer was at their maximum and the seller was at their maximum, and then there was a 25 grand bridge scrap.
Yeah, it's even the psychology. It's just like, it just needs to feel right.
It needs to feel right. So they just were like, oh, look, it's not going to happen. Like, so I was just like, oh, I should have just stuck to my guns on that, because what would have happened with the auctions, we would have got the building and pest prior to, we would have found out there was an issue, we could have addressed that issue, or I could have been able to explain to buyers, look, we've had 3 quotes on this. This needs to be done. It's going to cost 25 grand. I can get you quotes. I can put you in this. But keep that in mind when you go into the auction.
Yeah, a lot of these amateurs, amateur agents, I'm talking about, that bag auctions.
Yeah.
They have probably only been in the industry for like 2 or 3 years, and they've started in a booming market.
Yeah.
Let's see how good you are when the market tightens up. REA Premier or Basic?
Premier.
So realestate.com, premium ads or basic adverts?
I really wouldn't even go anything else.
Premier all day.
All day. I've never not put a listing on the market without a Premier ad.
I can't even fathom not doing good marketing on realestate.com. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you not want your property to stand out on the biggest inquirer there is?
Yeah.
It costs you $2,000 to do it, and it would make you so much more money on the...
And if you do it, you regret it, like, straight away. Like, I remember about a year or 2 ago, there was someone and they were just like hell-bent that they were just going to do the other ad. Then you do it, and you're like, oh, what the inquiries for this one? You're like, go figure. Go figure.
Like, they're just like, oh, that property's going to sell anyway. And you're like, yeah, of course it is.
But what is one more buyer? What is one more buyer going to do? That's what I always say to sellers at the end of this marketing presentation. Yes, normally we are more expensive than the competitors, but I always say, do you think if we get one more buyer through the door and they're going to make an offer, do you think it's going to make a difference of more than this, what you're spending on the market? And they're like, of course, we're selling a $1.8 million property. One more offer is not going to be $3,000 apart. You could be 50 grand apart. You know?
Yeah.
One more buyer.
REA Prem all day long. What's your favorite feature about our system?
Feature about the system, I mean, if I'm sitting down in front of sellers in a listing presentation, like a very common thing that like homeowners say, I'm sure you guys hear this too, is, oh yeah, the other agent told us they had buyers for the house. Like they told us they had buyers. And then I say, well, did they show you their buyers?
Yeah.
I think it's awesome how we can flip open our database and show them every single buyer we have in our system in a certain price point. They can let us know how much you're looking to get for your property. 1.5. Okay, I'll pull open 1.5 buyers. You can see I've got 76 people in looking to buy a house today from 1.5 to 1,750.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Togsy, what do you reckon?
Obviously, that's the biggest one. I think I've never been at any other brand. Actually, I don't think any of us have.
Yeah.
No, he's got 5.
I have.
Oh, yeah. I think he's got like 5 brands.
Nah, two other ones,
And you just kept spinning.
I've had a couple of them.
Oh,
Kept throwing people's flies in the booth.
I wasn't committed, boys,
All right, look, so later, Lucky. But
what do you reckon?
for me, it's like, I don't think anyone has a process of breaking down your listing presentations, your appraisals, like that potential seller dashboard that we have, where you have what's coming up, you get reminded on how often to call these people depending on the stage that they're in.
Yeah.
Easily log calls. I can see my business and what's coming in the next 6 months like that.
Yeah,
like
that dashboard is unique.
Dashboard is so unique. Like I literally have I can look like, all right, there's the 20 or 30 listing presentations that I've either been to or got coming in the next month.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that every day I look at them.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if there's a way that I can service them.
Yeah.
And appraisal is the same thing. And then it goes to then I've got updating them for my calls that I can make.
Yeah. Being able to dissect that database like that, and having sellers that are also buyers, and having buyers in the stage of offers and sellers in the stage of presentation or appraisal. It's it's so powerful how you can break the business into parts, and you can give a part to you can have an unlimited amount of people in your team in the system, and be like, you handle that part, get everything absolutely perfect, all the calls go down, nothing gets missed.
Yeah, that's
what business do you want?
That's like Ashley in my business. Like our main focus with her is my my buyers that are also sellers. So every single day, I'm like, that's the first thing. You scan through that list. There's like 90 people there. 90 people that are buying right now that will sell when they find a house.
Yeah.
Forget going door knocking.
Yeah.
Forget anything else.
Find them a house.
Like
hey.
every day. And like if something comes on realestate.com that's suitable, we're going to send that to them before they even open the realestate.com app.
Absolutely.
I don't care if it's with another agent or not. Because now when they go to that open home with that agent, they're like, oh, we would give it to you, but Tom and Ashley kind of said this to us.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Lukey? What's your favourite part of the system?
I'm going to say the same as what Kristian said.
Give us a different one because give us a few different options.
Man, that's the whole story.
Jump on board the program.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah.
Stole your thunder.
That's why you don't read the questions before you go.
Oh, I didn't tell the story about I'm going to tell the story anyway because I think it's important for other agents to hear this. This is it's a property that's very similar to one that I sold at auction about 2 months ago. They've got a relationship with the agent. They're definitely listing with them. Sometimes you get those people, and I respect that because I hope that I have that same kind of relationship with some people long term that I don't even have to do a listing presentation. I've sold for them in the past, or they just love me. No other agent stands a chance. But that's what's happening in this situation. But I've said to them, look at the property that I sold 3 months ago. It's so similar to yours. I've got 100 buyers that I met in that 4-week auction campaign. It was such a popular home. I'm going to go and sit with them and just show them these buyers by name. Look, these are the 100 people I met down the road 2 months ago. Before you go to the market with this agent, let me call these 100 people and get them through your house. I'm not saying 100 are going to rock up, but if I can get 20 people there, that's as good as an amazing open home. Generate competition and maybe have the opportunity to sell that before the other agent takes it to market.
Yeah.
Like that is so powerful.
Seriously.
I can open the campaign and say, there's everyone. Let me call them all, get them through your house, see if I can do it without you even needing to go to market.
Bring it through?
I'm going to go see them today.
Oh, nice. Yeah, cool.
Similar to what like Dylan Houliston, he told me when he goes door knocking, he takes his iPad with him and he's got all his buyers there. So when he's knocking on the door, he's not just handing out like a pamphlet. He's knocking on the door. He's like, hey guys, like just knocking on your streets. I've just sold one. Like these are all the buyers I'm speaking to right now. This is my system. I've got 300 and something people in here ready to buy a house today. If I can find the right property, would you let me like mention your property to one of these buyers? Would you consider an offer?
Shout out Dylan.
Shout out Dylan.
The Hoolies, they're killing it, like. Again, OGs have been at this business for a very long time. Door knocking machine.
Door knocking machines.
Absolute legends. Would you prefer to dominate a style property or a suburb?
Definitely starting with the wrong person. For me, like my business has all come in the last 12 months from buyers that I've met previously. So I've got that many people that I've met in my database as buyers over the last 10 years that I've got 1,000 people that owned homes in Redlands that I've met as a buyer. So for me, it's probably a little bit different. Like I focus on the relationships, the areas generally across the Redlands. I've grown up in that area all my life. But for me, I just double down on the buyers. Like that's Ashley just pretty much focuses on continually that service. We get them into my communities, want to work on my communities more. And literally that's most of my business has come from past buyers.
Nice.
Service.
So what would you prefer?
If I was preferring
a style of property,
probably style.
Yeah, cool.
Probably a style of property.
Yeah, I reckon you're more style, Luke.
I think so. What would I prefer?
Yeah, well, I feel like your business is more style of property right now.
Well, that's definitely what I'd love to be going for, and I'd love to start giving that impression to the marketplace and getting more of those types of listings.
A lot of your listings are premium. Like they're like. You had this like Hamptons like modernist style home for so long, and now you're getting like some acreages. You're getting like really nice. They all seem to be like really nice homes, eh? Like they're around that sort of 1.5 to 2 million range. Like
I think that for me, that's what makes sense for my business. I don't want to be an agent who has 20 listings at a time. I feel like I'd be running around like crazy and not being able to give each person the service they need. And really, it is as much work to sell an $800,000 home as it is to sell a $2 million home. If you're running the right process, the work is the same. So I would prefer to take on fewer listings that I can really focus on and give those sellers like all the attention that they need, as well as being able to deal with every buyer perfectly to achieve really good results. So yeah, I'd love to dominate a certain style, but I think you have to focus on an area as well, because that's how you grow your business. You can't be dropping 10,000 flyers a week across the entire Redlands. You need to focus on a patch so that you've got that bread and butter business. And so, I think you've got to dominate a suburb as well.
Nice. What do you reckon?
I don't think there's any like difference for an agent, I guess, between specializing in like a style or an area. I think it comes down to like just preference for the agent. I think in the Redlands when I was getting started, like I didn't want to say no to any business. So like I was selling property from Thornside, Birkdale out to Redland Bay and beyond. You know, I was taking listings in Chambers Flat, you know what I mean? Just to get my feet off the ground and, you know, not say no to an opportunity. I think now that I've shifted my business out here to like our new office in Wynnum, like I do want to specialize in this area and this suburb. So yeah, I'm definitely leaning towards more suburb specialization.
How realestate.com obviously works, and how like a lot of these like referral type partners they work, is that they and maybe an average seller, if they weren't in touch with a local agent, would probably pick an agent, I imagine, is they would go to realestate.com and they would look in their suburb and they would go to who sold the most amount of homes in their suburb. And then they'd be like, well, there's the top three. I'll give them a call. You know, if they hadn't spoken to anyone previously. So I think dominating a suburb is like probably ideal. But then I think, you know, once you get like a suburb and you start to get certain types of properties in that suburb, you can definitely get more of those types of properties in other suburbs. Yes. And that's sort of what happened with my business. It's like I've dominated a suburb for so long, and then like I just start getting good properties like everywhere. And so yeah, I think both avenues will work. But I think if you're trying to get like the free listings, like the ones that just call you, I think it's more suburb based. And I think with your marketing as well, like it's cheaper and easier to dominate, like, and it's more cost effective to dominate a suburb, because you can pick like 2,000 homes. And you can be like, all right, every 2 weeks I want to be in their letterbox. I want to be in every coffee shop. I want to be in bus stops around there. I want my digital marketing to be smashed around there, like, and that's just on repeat, you know, and that's more cost effective than trying to dominate 50,000 homes. You know, just dominate the 2,000 like real well. And get real well known in there, and then once you've got that, or you know, you'll get listings everywhere.
And I think, like, going back to what I said, I can do that now because I've met all these buyers over that time. I think if I was starting again, area for sure. Like, no doubt. If you're starting out, area, just go and just show up again and again and again and again and again. And do that. But
well, that leads me into my next question, because if you could start your career again, is there anything that you would do differently?
Probably not spend all my money. When we first get a few sales and go off to Europe. Actually, no. What was I saying? Europe was sick. So no, I think just start in an area.
Anything you did different?
Yeah, well, I think it took me a while to focus on a patch, and when I did that, when Kate and I and the kids were living in Fogarty Street in Cleveland, that's when I really fell in love with that location. And I think when I started specializing in an area that I lived, and I got to know the neighbors, I was always walking around the community, you meet people, you build these relationships, and that's now the same as what I'm doing in Wellington Point. For me personally, I think I'm lucky enough to live in a suburb that I'm obsessed with, and focusing on that just makes so much sense. Nurturing that area, nurturing the relationships you make in that area, being seen around there, being at the coffee shop all the time, like it just makes so much sense. If I could give any advice to anybody, is if you love where you live, focus on that area. Definitely. Because it's not like what I've always said to sellers when I was doing sort of Oyster Point, Cleveland, I still am, and now Wellington Point, is I don't consider myself a salesperson in like the traditional sense of the word. Like, you know, you think of a car salesman who's just giving you a pitch. I think that a lot of my business comes from trust, and I think that a lot of my good sales come from a relationship built with the buyers of trust as well, where they feel that they can trust what I'm telling them. They know that there's a genuine passion. When I'm selling the area, it's genuine emotion behind it, and they're going, oh man, Luke loves this place, I want to live here too.
I reckon if I was to restart your business,
wouldn't have done that Soy Andrew video.
I would just probably try and ramp up the marketing. That's what I would say for all of you, to be honest. Like, I think that if you can get real consistent with this message that you're pushing, because it's never going to stop. It's like going to the gym. It's never going to stop. You got to keep going. But you got to turn your marketing on, and you've got to keep hitting the same people, because they still live in the same houses. It's like 4, 5, 7, 10 years, they still live in the same house. So if you've been in their letterbox for 10 years, if you've been on their social media for 10 years, selling properties about their area, and they always see, and they're down at the coffee shop, and there he is again. Oh, that's that person. There his car is. Now he's driving around. There's his bus stop. Like, it's marketing. Like, all this stuff that we've got behind the scenes is amazing. Like, all the systems, all the processes and everything. But if you can get your marketing and turn it on and never turn it off, especially if someone like yourself who lists 9 out of 10 of the listings they go for, you sit in front of a seller, 9 out of 10 of them are going to list their home with you at a presentation. So if you could double your listing presentations, you double your business. And how do you double your listing presentations? All you do is just
get seen more.
Get called into twice as many. That's not that hard. You know, you just double down on the marketing and you double your business. It's not going to cost you anywhere near that to turn on a marketing campaign.
Yeah.
You know, Kristian, what would you do different?
Well, I'm here right now. You know, I've just shifted my business into a new area, so I'm living all this stuff right here, right now. I'm starting afresh. You know, that's the mindset I have towards this new area. So, you know, like you said, I need to, you know, switch on the marketing. I need to be doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on every marketing I'm putting out there to the community. But as well as that, I think for all the other agents out there that are getting started, like, do not miss an opportunity to leverage off any business you get, any listing you get. You need to be letting everyone in the street and the surrounding streets know that you've got a listing coming up for sale. You're the guy that's got that listing coming up for sale. Every buyer in your system needs to know about that listing. You need to be cold calling those streets. Yeah. You know, like, there shouldn't be anyone in your suburb that doesn't know about that listing, you know. So
processes from the start. What are you going to do on listing? What are you going to do on under contract? What are you going to do on settled? You know, what does your social media look like? What does the letterbox campaign look like? What does the cold calling campaign look like? What does your text messaging system look like on each of those triggers? Bang, set, forget, get someone in your team to do it.
Yeah, you can't just wing that. You can't wing that shit either. So, yeah, you got to have a system and a plan in place for what happens when you get the listing and how that all funnels out from there. So,
yeah. For me, if I was to go back, I've always had my mentors. I've had Randall, I've had Gaz, my old man, I've had people come into my life like Nick Stewart and Corey's and all these types of people. But for me, I think I would get more coaches. I would get more people to hold me accountable.
I was just going to say that.
Because I feel like you can get to a certain point and you're like, you're really comfy, you're really good, you know, but then you go to the gym and you've got your coach there and he's just like, lift him out, do this, you know, and you just start to like, you just do it, you know, but you got to have people that hold you accountable, you know, have more coaches that you can bring things from. Like I'll go and have, you know, spend an hour with Randall and I'll come out of there feeling like I've just learned so much stuff, you know what I mean? I'll go sit down with my dad and talk about finance and stuff like that. He'll teach me so many things about finance, you know, like if you got more mentors and you can, you know, spend time with these people, I just think that, you're just going to learn way quicker.
Yeah, I agree. I think coming to that as well, like I think it's a lot of personal growth. Like I think you got to constantly be working on yourself. You got to be constantly assessing, like, how can I have more, like you used to say, Randall would literally, you'd come into Randall's office and be like, empathy, like, and if you keep it, and then you were hitting us with that. Yeah. And I didn't even understand the full meaning of that for a long time.
Yeah. Randall kept saying to me, he goes, like this, when I was younger, he said, yeah, but like when you really care. Like at the start, I was like full gung ho, and I was just like, I care. And he's like, no. He's like, no, when you fully, really care. And I was just like, no, I care. No, I care. And but I didn't understand the level of caring. Yeah. And now I really care about my customer. I really care about my people. You know, I really care about everyone that's around me, like doing well. Now I really care. Yeah. Now I understand what really caring means.
My the best feedback I've had, the best compliment that I've had in the last few years is that, like, Paulie, I've sold a couple of houses for now and we're mates, right? But we're mates because of the service and because of how we work together. Like, he's like, you actually care about the deal. Like, you care about the seller. Yeah. There's agents that care about the deal and there's agents that care about the seller. And there's a lot more agents that just care about the deal than there are the seller. And I think if you're getting in this business, the quickest thing you can pick up is that, because that people can read that. Yeah. People can read that real quick. And I know in early days, I'd be going in there into a listing press and I'd just be thinking about, am I saying the perfect listing presentation? Am I saying the right dialogue? Am I saying the right things? And how important this listing was to me and all of these kinds of things. And now I, like, you know, feel sick even thinking that that's the way that I once thought.
Yeah.
and that people think that way.
Yeah, the seller doesn't know that you didn't hit the perfect one line.
No.
Right there.
But they know if you cared or not.
Yeah,
They know
that's
if you
it.
cared
They're
or
just scared that you've actually listened to them
Yeah.
and like asked them some solid questions and had
Yeah.
a cup of tea with them.
I mean, listening to them is that's so key.
You can walk in and out of there and get a listening process without even bringing out your laptop or talking about the process and stuff. Because especially if they've had 3 or 4 go in and do the opposite.
Yeah.
Like I went to one recently and I was like, so have you had a few agents? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, so what they talk about how good their brand was for marketing and like how you shouldn't put a price on it. I was like, do they talk about anything else? And they're like, oh, no, really? I was like, okay, cool. What do you guys want to do? And it was just like that led into, all right, cool. Well, I'm going to show you these so you know that I'm, you know, I know I've got your back and you know I've got the things behind me to have you back properly.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, like I say, there's a lot of things that you can do as an agent, but if you just stick to the basics of just getting to know your people and marketing yourself well, and then just improving yourself as a person, like we're all growing. Like I feel like I'm a completely different person to what I was 10 years ago. You know, thank God. You know, just had my second child. You know, I'm just happy this morning because I actually slept well last night. Theo was just a dream last night. So you know, like. Yeah, just I'm pretty happy with life right now, guys. I'm pretty happy with this business and what we're creating. I think it's a special team to be a part of, and you guys, I really appreciate you being here with us on this journey. I'm looking forward to seeing what some of these young guns that we've got, like, you know, we haven't really shout out to many of the other agents in this brand, but we've got so many good up and coming agents right now. Like, it's exciting to see what some of them are going to do over the next couple of years. But yeah,
it's crazy to see how quick some of these guys are just
Picking it up.
taking off and doing so well, honestly.
Yeah.
Psych.
Honestly, when I look at my 2-year runway to get started and how some of these lads, you know, within 6 months, listing multiple homes in Raby Bay or, you know, writing, you know, doing so well in a quarter, like it took me 4 years to write those kinds of numbers. It's crazy.
Yeah, and ladies, you know.
And of
like
course.
Quebec Markers and people like this. They just like, you know, I think Gemma coming back is going to be awesome. I think she's going to do really well.
Yeah,
people
that's
like Wade joining the business. Like he's just absolutely killing it at the moment. You know, you got your Nathans, your Coopers, like the Joels, like they're just
More than Jimbo.
I'm a big fan of Joel at the moment.
start naming like everyone at this brand. You know, like there's just so many good people here that are just their businesses are about to take off. And yeah, we've got some new agents starting as well. A guy who gave me the green light yesterday is going to join in a few weeks' time. Pretty excited to what he can do. And you know, we've lost a few agents. See ya. We have gained a few. Welcome. And
Got a few come back as well.
A few come back.
Saw the grass is not greener.
Absolutely. But let's go. Let's go. If you're on our team, we have got your back 150%. But if you want to play against us, let's go. Let's tackle.
Yeah,
That's cool.
See you out there.